Good evening, and welcome to our Fireside Chat series. I am Michael Harris, Chairman of the Shelby County Democratic Party, and tonight what we are having is a sit down with some of our elected officials. We have several guests with us here this evening, but the goal of this event or this series is to provide an opportunity for our constituents, our voters, for us as Shelby County residents to hear from our elected officials in their various roles and learn what's happening. It's important that we become engaged. It's important that we are informed in the best way possible and with the most accurate information. And it's important that we do the work that's necessary to make the best decisions when we get to the polls to vote. And so we'll start tonight by talking to a few of our guests, and it's going to be a good opportunity again for you guys to learn. So get your notebooks out, get your pad, get your pen. If you need to grab some coffee, go get it and start it and come back and listen, and then get it when it's ready. But here we go. We're jumping right in. And so we're going to start with Commissioner Mickell Lowery of County Commission District 8. And so Mr. Lowery is going to introduce himself and then talk a little bit about what he has going on. So first, let's welcome County Commissioner Mickell Lowery.
Thank you, Chairman. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you wonderfully. Everything
Great.
is coming through loud and clear. So
Great.
Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your district and any committees you serve on and at least one thing that you're passionate about.
Sure. Well, first, let me start off by saying thank you to you for your leadership here and to the party for having these fireside chats. It's great that we get a chance to answer some of these questions and get our public opportunity to hear what's going on within the city and county from a city level as well as a school board. So great job in putting this together by the party. But again, my name is Mickell Lowery, County Commissioner for District 8. And District 8, what it covers is all of downtown, a large majority of South Memphis as well as Frazier. So pretty large area as we have for our county districts. So proud to represent all of those areas, have tie-ins with all those areas as well, from where I lived and where I went to school and where my wife lived and things of that nature. So I'm thankful every day that I still get a chance to sit in that chair, no matter what's going on in our county and our city. A couple things. You asked for this one thing, and I won't take up too much time. I know we have other guests here about what we're passionate about, because I'm passionate about a lot of things when it comes to what we're doing. But you asked me about the committees I serve on. So right now I'm chair of the Economic Development Committee. And so with that brings along passions for our jobs and equality, fair wages, and attracting the right type of industry to Memphis and to Shelby County. Now, I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit more, but right now what we're looking at is how to go about attracting that talent. Really, the pandemic has changed how things are as far as attracting businesses. You know, it used to be that all these cities got in line and gave out all the incentives that we can, whatever it may be, pilots and things of that nature. You remember that just happened with Amazon. Over 200 cities signed up just to get Amazon's headquarters. We were one of them. But now with the pandemic, hopefully getting past us, remote work is really changing how business is being done. So now it's not necessarily about attracting businesses, it's about attracting people. And how we do that is by having, obviously, the best schools we can, parks, sustainable living conditions, things of that nature. So we're really trying to figure out how we interwove that into our economic development activities. So I'll stop there so you can get to the other guests. But again, thanks for having me today.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Lowery. Mm-hmm. And so now we'll go to first, let me say this young lady, this school board commissioner, she got notified about this opportunity today. She stepped right in sync, was ready to rock and roll. And so I am so glad to have her on board with us here tonight. And so we have School Board Commissioner Shalia Harris. And I would like for you to tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, and let's answer the same question. Tell us about your district, committees you're serving on, and that one big thing that you're passionate about.
Sure. Thank you, Chair. And just to add a little more clarification, I was asked about an hour ago if I would join this panel. And so we're going to make this work this evening. So glad to be here. Glad to join the conversation. My name is Shalia Harris. I represent the district that raised me, District 5, Shelby County Schools. That covers all of Cordova and also Northern Shelby County, Bolton, Bears Chapel area. Have about 12 schools in the district that I am serving for at least the next 4 years. I can commit to that. The committees that I serve on with Shelby County Schools, Legislative and Community Engagement, I co-chair that committee, and I'm about to start supporting our procurement committee as well. I am officially 6 months in this role. It feels like 6 years already, but it has only been 6 months. Excited about just the opportunity of the work that we can do in the district. Excited about the position. Excited to serve the community, like I said, that raised me. What I am most passionate about, which is no secret to anyone in the Memphis area, is really advocating for our youth that are experiencing homelessness. I've been in this advocacy space for the past 6 years. Look forward to continue to do this work. As long as we have homeless youth right here in Memphis, we have work to do. Within that advocacy work, kind of connecting that to my role with the school district, I am working on an advocacy framework, an accountability framework for the McKinney-Vento Act, and that is a law that protects our students that are homeless. And so that is one of my big goals right now, is to make sure that we not only as a district, but also as a city are supporting our most vulnerable population, which is our children.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Commissioner Harris. And let me say, I think this is the year of the Harris leaders. So we have a Harris in the White House. I claim her as my 96th cousin. She doesn't know me, but I claim her anyway. And so now we're going to introduce you all to the county commissioner for the district that I grew up in. I'm a Southside High School graduate. Southside Scrapper. I was one of the last. I graduated in 2000, so I guess the last 8 years of Southside, I was there. Introduce you all to County Commissioner Reginald Milton for the great district. Not sure what happened. I think it was a technical glitch on my end. So, Commissioner Milton.
Look, if you don't want me to be on this, I can go do something else, okay?
Oh, no. You represent Scrapper Nation. We need you here.
Indeed, I do. And in fact, I did go to Southside for 1 year. In my time that we're going, they were shifting everyone around so that they could try to balance the racial quota. So I went to Southside, and then they bused me all the way over to Oak Haven High School. So I still consider myself a scrapper. I've got, I want to thank you, Chair, and I want to thank the Shelby County Democratic Party for hosting this. I think we should be doing more of these. The public really needs to have an opportunity to know what their elected officials are and doing, and I fully support this. I joke with my fellow commissioners all the time that I actually have the best job, in the sense that I have the coolest district that anybody else has. It is actually a great district. I represent Cooper Young, Oakland Square, Midtown, Central Gardens, Chickasaw Gardens, South Memphis, and Orange Mound. Now tell me, is that not a cool district? That is a really great district. It is, and it's so diverse. And it's always something happening, and it really is an honor to represent these wonderful people. I serve on I'm on delinquent tax properties, and it may not sound exciting, but I think if you have a passion for this kind of work, you can always make even the most boring things very effective. And I think as we discuss other topics, I'll show you how I've used being the chair of delinquent tax properties to have some impact on the lives of the residents in Shelby County. What my passion is that my full-time job is that I am a community organizer. I run a nonprofit. I started it 20 years ago. I have a 10 by 10 room working with children who are incarcerated. Today, we own and operate almost 50,000 square feet of real estate, and it's a multi-million-dollar agency serving hundreds and hundreds of people now. It's amazing how it's grown. And I spend every waking moment of my life trying to make the lives of people who often are overlooked a bit better. And I look forward to hearing what the others have to say on these issues. Thank you.
Awesome. Scrapper Nation supports you. All right. And so now I get an opportunity to introduce a brother who at one time, when I first met him, he was preparing himself to go to law school, and now he's an awesome attorney, and he's out here working in our community to make a difference. So let's hear from a city councilman for Super District 8-1, J.B. Smiley Jr.
Hello, everyone. I'm just glad that Chairman Harris didn't tell any jokes about when he first met me and how bad my attire was. But to the other elected officials, good evening. Councilman J.B. Smiley Jr., Super District 8, Position 1. That's half of the city. Half of the city includes all of County Commission District 8, all of County Commission District 10. So it's from Whitehaven all the way to Fraser, everything in between, as far as east as Riverdale Road. I love Commissioner Lowery's district so much, I made sure when I ran the second time that district was included as well. The same thing goes for Commissioner Milton. But, as it relates to the things that I'm passionate about, my standing committee is Public Works, and that includes engineering. That also includes Director Lamar's area, in which it is public service and sanitation workers. So what I'm trying to do is determine how we can efficiently clean up some of these underserved communities. Because if we don't do that, how can we inspire pride in the communities that we cherish, the communities that we call home? So I've asked for a weekly report from Director Lamar so that we can determine what houses are missed when it comes to trash pickup and figure out ways that we can work together to address those inequities. And another thing that I'm currently working on is revitalizing or finding out how we can have an anchor in 38126. Oftentimes when we talk about communities like 38126, people leaving and folks are moving, but there's no real push to revitalize the neighborhood or bring in some type of stabilizing mechanism so that folks can gravitate toward it. So one of the things that I've been working with the city and I've been pushing forward is how we can effectively use the Metro Shopping Center. For those of you who are familiar with Metro Shopping Center, it's the corner of Danny Thomas and Crump Boulevard. It's the big shopping center there that has, parking lot is full of potholes. The structure itself needs a lot of work. So I've been working with the Downtown Memphis Commission, the city of Memphis, to find out if there's a way for the city to essentially buy it like we bought the 100 North Main. So I think if we do things like this, we can inspire hope in the communities that seem to be forgotten for far so long. So I'm going to work hard and hopefully we are successful, whether it's the city eventually getting ownership of that or where we can convince a private investor to come out and purchase the property. But it's working. I'm hopeful that we will make it happen sometime. So.
Awesome. Well, everybody is aware of what's happening with COVID-19. And so we know that our children are now going back to school and the world is trying to open back up. And so our first question will be directed to our school board member, Commissioner Shalia Harris. How can we keep students and teachers safe as schools reopen? And for the rest of you all, what will each of you do at your respective level of government to aid in this process?
Thank you, Chair. Just for a point of clarity, school has been open since August. Buildings opened back up for all of our students last week, starting with elementary and then middle and high school this week. School has been in session every single day, Monday through Friday. since August. Buildings opened back up last week. What we can do as a general public to keep our children and our teachers safe, we can follow guidelines. We can wear a mask. We can do very simple things first to keep our children safe. Our responsibility in the district is to make sure that when our children, as they're coming back into the classroom, we provide a environment for both teachers and students. That is on us. And also for the general public to focus on collaboration and not so much criticism. None of us have ever been in this space before. We are all trying to figure this out as we go the best way that we can. And so focusing more on collaboration and not criticism, and choosing a school that is in the district where you live and work with those school leaders and asking the principals questions: what do you need from your school to feel safe? What do you need from me as a community member or a community organization to support the work that you're trying to do in your school? So that's an immediate thing that we can do.
Awesome. So chime in. What about the rest of you all, and at your respective level of government? What do you guys see as the opportunities to aid in ensuring that our students are returning to the buildings for in-person education safely?
Well, for me, on the city level, recently the city of Memphis has taken over COVID-19 vaccinations. What we've been attempting to do on the city council is push for the city administration to adopt a plan that includes the underserved communities in our city that, oftentimes are skeptical when it comes to COVID-19 vaccination, and how this relates to students. If the parents are vaccinated in those communities, if the teachers are vaccinated in those communities, if the staff members are vaccinated in those communities, the students who do decide to go into the schools, they will be in an environment where they're safe and potentially COVID-19 free. So we have to do everything we can to put people in a position of willingness to get COVID-19 vaccinations. And if they are willing and don't have access to transportation, we find ways to make sure that they have that access to transportation. But we have to make sure that we're getting shots in the arms of everyone who's willing and ready to receive a COVID-19 vaccination.
And I would add that Commissioner Lowery and I and the fellow commissioners push for the ensure that the teachers before they return to the classroom were vaccinated. This was brought before the body by Commissioner Van Turner, and we all were very supportive of it. Obviously, we have to protect our teachers, and I was proud to be part of that. And I'm sure Commissioner Lowery can point on that as well.
No, well said. I echo those sentiments, and we had to make sure that our teachers felt safe, as well as returning back to the buildings. We heard that far and wide from our teachers. So that was one of the first steps we could do there as well, and ensuring that any funding that we have available for those schools to be able to have the equipment and the PPE that's needed for our students to return safely. I know that firsthand. I have two daughters in the school system, and you have a little bit of angst about sending your children back to school in this environment, but you feel comfortable when your teachers feel comfortable and they have the right equipment, PPE necessary to keep people safe.
Okay.
Can I add one more thing to that, since we're talking about the teachers? I will note that it was almost a miracle for to have such a short turnaround. We were able to administer 6,000 vaccinations to our teachers and whomever else wanted them at that time at the school. So I just wanted to make a note of that. It was a very short turnaround, but we were able to get that done.
Excellent. And just a quick follow-up question: what percentage of the student body has returned to in-person learning?
We have about a third of our students that have said they want to return. We're going to get those numbers at the end of this week because, like I said, our middle and high school, they just came back into the buildings this week on Monday, and so we should have some more accurate numbers on Friday of this week.
All right, awesome. Well, let's kind of transition a little bit, and I'm going to this question to our county commissioners first, and then I want to send it over to our city councilman, J.D. Smiley Jr., and then, of course, there's nothing that education doesn't touch. So I'd like to hear what you have to say about this question, Commissioner Harris. Here's the question: jobs, skills, wages. What are we doing to create more jobs, build a skilled workforce, and help the Shelby County workforce earn money? So let's start the top with Commissioner Lowery.
Yeah, thanks. That's always at the forefront. How are we creating more jobs, helping to create more jobs, and including the environment for that. So a couple of things we're doing in the county is number one is that we're making sure that our locally and local small business or minority-owned businesses are included and are at the table when a lot of these big development projects come up. As you all know, government government doesn't do all things, but it can create the environment for more people to be successful, more business to be included. So we want to make sure that when people are coming to do business with the county government, number one, that they're included with the small businesses as well as our locally owned businesses as well. That's number one. But even that's immediate need. But also we're doing similar to what the city is doing. Is that we have an internship program that we're trying to reach people young and trying to teach those skills at a very young age, as far as importance of mentorship and importance of work ethic and things of that nature, to make sure they're on a trajectory to have good paying jobs going forward. But also too, what we need to be doing here, and again, back to economic development, is it's funny how we think about sometimes the best thing we can do is attract the largest company to come here and they bring a lot of people and they hire folks. And that's just not the way to be successful as a city. What we need to make sure is we have the best schools, the best infrastructure, put money there to make people attractive to want to live here in Memphis. Because as we all know, as we're all doing right now, you're able to work remotely in certain roles. It doesn't matter where the job is, we can connect just like this. So we need to be making sure that we're doing whatever we can to support our schools and make sure they're the best schools they can be, support our neighborhoods. So we're attracting people that want to come live here. And that will increase, obviously, our overall population, as well as our job talent pool as well. You know, you hear a lot of things about saying we have a talent issue here in Memphis and Shelby County. And that's reality. And that's reality as well. But what we need to do is give people opportunities as well. That's training programs, that's internship programs, and that comes from us, from a county side, making sure we put those dollars directly into those initiatives to help folks and incentivize folks that want to work, that want to work.
Awesome. And so, Commissioner Milton, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think the comments made by my colleague are absolutely right. The reality is that we have a large percentage of people who need training and skills. I met with the Shelby County Office of Reentry just the other week, and I'm directing a large sum of funding to that organization, which works with people who, after leaving the correctional facilities, are, often these individuals want to work. They want to find a job. They want to make a decent living, but they have so many challenges. And if not addressed, they get pulled back into that lifestyle that put them in that situation in the first place. I have always been a big supporter of prevention, and I believe that is critical. We need to be more on the ground and addressing. Education is clearly, I think, the bedrock of assuring if someone's going to have a quality life or not. And I think this commission has always been very supportive of providing them with the funds necessary to educate our young people so they can be prepared for a future career. But this is when we're dealing with is a situation where often a lot of people have issues, challenges, and it's not one thing that we're going to do that's going to solve this. It's going to be many things, and often it takes resources, and we're going to need to find those dollars to help people who are on the ground, who are trying to correct the situation or learn new skills to find those jobs, or nothing actually is going to change.
If I can jump in here, first I concur with both of the commissioners, but I think another component of what we're doing to create jobs is we have to talk and get serious about policy reform. I believe the city council and the county commissioners are at some point going to have a joint meeting to discuss policy reform. We saw that we just recently lost service masters. We're losing jobs that way. We have to talk about what type of jobs should we incentivize? Are we going to continue to incentivize the low-paying jobs in which the company has no ties to the city or the county, or are we going to incentivize those companies who are here in the city, are invested in the city, are willing to scale up if they receive the same type of incentives some of these largest companies are are receiving from us. So I think a real discussion about pilot reform and what we will do going forward in terms of what businesses we will incentivize will go a long way into growing providing more jobs in the community.
Agreed.
And let
So,
me,
yeah.
let me add to this. Great comments so far. I agree with them. I do want to say that the center of any thriving economy is the neighborhood school, is education. If you look across the country, if you see a thriving city, it's a direct correlation with their education system. So the more we invest in our schools, our Memphis schools, the better our outcomes are going to be for our workforce. We have to invest more in our children as far as actions and not continue to have conversations that end with nothing. I'm tired of conversations. I'm tired of panels. I'm tired of conferences to talk about poverty, to talk about lack of education in our city, and there's no action behind it. We need more action. We need more real investment in our children, because everything that the commissioner said before me, it won't happen. It will not happen if we do not invest in our children. Not today, but as of yesterday, we need to invest in our children.
And I want to get into to two things that have been mentioned so far. But first, what about like job skill training and that educational component? When I was in school, I knew it as like wood shop and that. But what type of programs, or do we have programs in place for skills training that are available?
We have more than enough programs, and I'll speak to this as a former CTE teacher, career and technical education and trade courses. That is what I taught when I was a classroom teacher. I think we need to work on elevating the importance of those courses and making those connections within the city as far as other companies that can partner with the school district, so that when our students do graduate, they can get certified and go directly into the workforce. I think we just need to have a deeper conversation on how we collaborate with the school district. But we have increased our available courses for CTE, and the plan is over the next few years to make sure all of our middle and high schools have access to a full range of CTE courses.
Awesome. Well, and I want to now dive back into this pilot comment and remark that was made. In terms of this, service masters leaving. It looks like they've done a lot of work downtown. Well, they have done a lot of work on at least that building that they were supposed to be working out of. Where do we go from here? And does this have a negative effect on us? And if so, what kind of negative effect does it have on us as taxpayers?
I'm assuming that question was directed to me.
Yes, sir, Councilman.
You was looking very stern there. Well, I don't really speak in terms of negatives. I speak in terms of opportunities. What I do believe, it gives us an opportunity and sheds a light on the type of entities we do not need to incentivize to come here. We can give all the money in the world. If the entity does not want to stay, they will not stay. I think it just allows us to shift the conversation into what investing into local businesses look like, what investing to communities or businesses that are rooted to ground in the county and the city. What do we do from there? Like the type of people we invest in, the type of business owners we invest in. I think we have to shift the conversation from bringing in large businesses outside of our community with no real tie to the Memphis or Shelby County area. And hopefully they give us a $10 an hour job, or invest in communities or businesses that we know for sure are going to pay a living wage. We know for sure are going to be here for long term. We know for sure that are invested in the city of Memphis and Shelby County.
And this question is for anyone to chime in on. What can we do that both the county and city government units and our education system can work on together? Or where are the commonalities where we're working together, city, county, and our school system to create a pipeline that creates strong small businesses? I mean, most of those small businesses that we have are going to be homegrown businesses that come from Memphians or those who have planted roots here. So what are those common links and threads so that our voters can know what they are and how we can work those threads together?
So Chair Harris, I'll add this point. we could talk about workforce all day long, and we can talk about building these relationships and pipelines from the school district to our local companies here. We have plenty of talent in Memphis. We have so many talented individuals here. We have highly educated people. We have people who want to work. The issue, in my opinion, we need a better transportation system. We can have jobs in Memphis, but if people do not get to work, what are we doing? We need a better transportation right here in Memphis.
Sure.
I don't believe you'll get any argument from any of us.
No.
All right, we're calling audible transportation. Let's talk about it. What are we doing to work on transportation? Is there anything moving? I know there was we had a lot of conversation about what's happening with MATA and efforts to get some additional funding over to MATA and to reroute or at least come up with some more efficient routes and stuff. So I know some of the stuff is not in you guys' purview, but to the extent that some of it is, what's been done on the public transportation front anymore?
Well, as you know, the county was looking at trying to invest some dollars into MATA. Of course, we've had our own financial issues, which has made this a challenge. But there's still a desire and a commitment to working on this and ensuring that MATA does have some additional resources. The truth is, and I couldn't agree more with the fact of the transportation being critical, but the reality, we'll find that we can name 5 or 6 things. Each of them all have an impact on the lives of people. But transportation is one of them. And if you own a car, and if you own a car in the city of Memphis, it's going to cost you on average $9,000 a year to operate that vehicle. Now, if you're making $25,000, a salary of $25,000, that's a huge chunk of your income. But what's the alternative? You have a transit system which desperately needs resources and needs more routes. Well, it takes you an hour to get to your job, an hour to get back. That's a good portion of your day. So you're balancing your pay with the hours in a day. And I think in either case, a lot of these residents are losing. Trying to get more jobs back in the urban community, I think is critical. We're going to talk about that as well on some of the things we're trying to do to improve that. I remember when I was in school, I was working all the way out east, and I had to find transportation, and it's a challenge, and it's something that we're going to have to deal with. So I concur.
Also, too, about transportation, especially with MATA, as Commissioner said, that was a big discussion point at one point. This was the first time that we were trying to come to the table to put money with the city for MATA. But we're looking forward to seeing MATA be a little bit more innovative as well. They start doing that a little bit as well, but think about it this way. I mean, faster routes to certain locations, things of that nature, being more succinct, being more efficient. Sometimes we get feedback and some people say we see the buses and there's no one on the bus. Well, them being more efficient in their route running to understanding where the jobs are, where's the population, they can use that same analytics and that same data to understand how many riders they have, where are the workforce and where they need to be, and be a little bit more efficient that way as well. So looking forward to them being a little bit more innovative as they set up in that space. And I've heard that, and I heard that they're doing that. So looking forward to seeing those outcomes.
I would love for us to move from trying to actually doing. We know where our issues are in the city. We have representatives from city, county, and school board on this call. Let's move from actually trying and thinking about and talking about to actually doing the things that we know need to be done.
Well, this next question, I think a lot of people I want to know, can we stop talking about it and trying, stop talking and trying and praying, and can we do something about it? So let me go ahead and first just ask this question. Do you support the Byhalia pipeline? If yes, why? And if no, what are you doing to oppose it publicly? And I think this is one of those interesting ones, because we would like to see what we are doing and not what we're trying. To the extent that we can do that, so this is a tough one. So who wants to dive in first?
I'm gonna add my small little bit first, and then I'll let the gentleman take the rest of it. The conversation that I had with Byhalia Pipeline, whomever their representatives were, that reached out to me as a school board member to ask for my opinion. I asked them one question. I said, "Where's your environmental report?" They said, "Commissioner Harris, we don't have one." I said, "Thank you for your time." That's all I had. Thank you.
Well, let me add to the point. I told you about the fact that I chair the delinquent tax properties, and I will tell anyone, it doesn't matter what thing you chair, what committee, you can find a way to utilize that to help the community. And one of the things I did was that I put a moratorium in South Memphis, preventing the county from selling properties, delinquent properties that were in the South Memphis area. My effort was twofold. One was that I knew about the pipeline, and being a community organizer, my goal is, I realize with communities, and is that companies come in, they have an infinite amount of resources. They can move much quicker than a community. And it often takes those residents more time to move forward, to put these studies together, who's going to fund them forward, who's going to support them. So it takes time. So my effort was to slow the process down, allowing the community an opportunity to decide if they wanted to do it or not. The issue is that if it's something the community wants, if it's something they feel that would be good, or if it's something they don't want, ultimately they need to have facts. And I think that point was just made. They need to have the data, and it takes time. So that's what I did. I took a moratorium. That moratorium, one of the other commissioners asked that area be removed from the moratorium. It has been removed now, but it did give that community more time to assess if they wanted the pipeline or not.
And then Commissioner Lowery?
Sure. So I agree with that as far as helping the community have their say as well, because these aren't easy issues. My first question to the representatives for the pipeline is, what are you proposing to do for the community that you want to build this, and what are you proposing to do for that? There's a lot of apprehension on both sides, but especially about what this does to our water, or what does this to our water, what it does to the environment. Those are real issues. How are you prepared to answer those questions to the folks in the community? Because they'll tell you that, majority of that pipeline is going through Mississippi. They say we're only using 7 miles of it for Memphis. Most of it's through Mississippi, and they've all agreed and things of that nature. Well, that's all fine and well, but what have you done to really reach out to the community to really help them understand if this is going to have any environmental impact, and what are you going to do for the community at the end of the day? For you to build this pipeline. Right now, we hear a lot from the community, and we hear a lot of people that are against it. And again, the community in the area need to have their say. And so it's our job to listen. It's our job to listen to both sides, actually. That's what we're here for. As uncomfortable that may be sometimes, as much as we may be staunchly against something, we were elected to hear out the facts from both sides of an issue. And that's what we're doing right now. We know a large majority of the public is against it. And if they cannot answer those questions about their environmental plan or what they plan to do to the community and how this is going to affect the environment, then unfortunately for them, we're going to have to move on.
Mm-hmm. Well, so let me change the question and ask a more direct question to everybody. And I guess we'll start with Smiley and circle back through. And that question is, can anything be done to stop it? If the understanding is that the majority of folks don't want it, can anything be done to stop it? If something can be done to stop it, is it being, or in the process of being done?
You would start with me with the most difficult question that legal scholars will debate about every single day. So to be honest, I think it's a gray area as it relates to the local government. For the most part, when you're dealing with interstate commerce, Chairman Harris, that's a federal issue. When you're dealing with issues that go throughout the state, when a lot of the states are implicated, you're talking about a state issue. So when you talk about specifically what can be our body, what can local governments do? To be honest, I think we could potentially slow it down. We could spend millions of dollars litigating the issues, but to what will we gain? Not really sure. It's a gray area. So as it relates to what the city council can do to stop it, our lawyers are researching it. The city of Memphis is researching it, but there's no definitive answer because there's a gap in regulation in terms of the local government's authority as it relates to protecting our aquifer. Whether the forefathers or the folks who put these charters and these laws in place should have thought about it, possibly so, but it's simply a gap in regulation when it comes to our control to do anything as it relates to interfering with the Byhalia pipeline. And we've researched the issue. There's going to be an ordinance proposed, potentially slowing it down or ended up with us in litigation that's going to be posed at the next council meeting. There will be a resolution proposed just expressing our opposition the second week of April, the second meeting in April. But a resolution is just saying, no, we don't want it here, but it doesn't do it. There's no legal teeth to it. There's nothing definitive about it. There's no finality to it. It's just us expressing our opposition. The resolution, not the ordinance, it seems to be that it's going to be a lot of litigation if the city council decides to attempt to put it in place, because there's no definitive thing that gives our body the authority to implement an ordinance that governs or controls considered a pipeline. So we'll see.
And so
we'll see.
Man, are there any other responses that are different that you guys want to chime in on with regards to that? And if not, then I want to go to a question then that just popped up from Carnita Atwater on Facebook. And so I'm assuming this is referring to a remark that was made by Commissioner Milton. And the question is, by applying the law of constitutional rights, how can you establish a moratorium for one section of the city and not other parts of the city? Is this moratorium unconstitutional as it relates to all communities and citizens? And so I guess the question would be, could you explain how the moratorium piece worked, or what you were speaking on? I think just to provide some clarity to that.
No, the moratorium is a limited moratorium. It's not permanent. The property is owned by the county. This doesn't stop you from buying property in that community if you want to. This only controls the property that the county owns in that area. If it's under our control, we have the authority to put that up for sale or not. So on a legal point of view, there is no legal problem with us doing that. I did another moratorium in Orange Mound. What was happening there was that a lot of the homes were being torn down in that community and they were losing their heritage. And my concern was to slow that process down to allow the residents to organize more, to decide what they wanted to happen in their own community. Most of these moratoriums last for 1 year. It's mostly designed just to give the community an opportunity to catch up. In the long run, it is always up to the community what they want to do. So I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, Commissioner Milton. And so let's go ahead. Now, I guess we'll get into some questions that are hinging on hopefulness. But I like the message and what Commissioner Harris is speaking on, which is that, we often speak of hope and what we would like to try or what we're trying to do. But in this question, let's talk about what you think is a hard goal. That's something that can be done. And so the question is, what is your biggest hope for your district in 2021? But I want to shape that question is like, what is one goal that you'd like to accomplish that you think is a realistic goal for 2021? And I want to caution our listeners out there to this point, which is that I think one common mistake that we all make as voters is thinking that one elected official has the Superman effect, and that if they feel one way, that means that their feeling will be imputed on others, the votes will turn out that way, and then the thing will be done or the job will be finished. That's not how it works. So when I'm asking for a realistic goal, I'm asking in the context of what can realistically be done. And so I don't want to tag anything unreasonably. And so I'm throwing that caution out there for our listeners. So one realistic goal for your district in 2021 that you'd like to see happen, or that you think you can achieve or range?
Thank you, Chair. Realistically, this year, we just want to make sure that our students are on track. That's the biggest goal, not just for District 5, but I think I can echo that for all other board members as well. Learning is nothing new. The only new thing in this pandemic is the virus itself. We've had a digital divide before. For decades, we've had learning for decades. There's just more attention to it now. And so just hoping that we can take this opportunity where the whole world is really looking at education in a different space, and hoping to have more collaboration and investment from our community partners to make sure that our students and teachers and families have exactly what they need. So that is really my goal this year, just for District 5, or the whole district, like I said, to make sure that we continue to make sure that our students have what they need, especially with digital learning.
Awesome. Who's ready next?
I'll jump in. A lot of goals for all of our districts, for our county, but specifically, this county commission was a lot of firsts for us this year, and one of them was investing in helping to keep our communities a little bit safer with cameras and things of that nature that protect that can hopefully just be a deterrent for crime in our communities. It's the first time we're doing that. We're looking to roll that out. So my goal is to get those placed at those areas and those communities that will help the city with the ones they already have in place, to give at least our citizens a little bit more comfort level that we're doing the best we can to make sure that there are resources out there to protect them. And also too, for me, and I'm sure Reginald, Milton, I'm sure all of us on the screen here, but blight remediation for the district. I mean, the county commission again is make sure that's in the budget, and there are certain areas that we want to make sure that we just do a better job in helping to remove some of this blight. I'm working on something specifically for the Fraser area as well. We're working for one in South Memphis with Commissioner Milton, and I'm sure if we had all the other commissioners, they could tell you about their own areas as well. But I believe we will see some things come to fruition for that, and those have a big impact on communities. People having additional pride in their communities when we remove some of this blight, people wanting to move there. You'll see property values go up and everything else. And that could also lead to more people moving in and having people attend the neighborhood schools, as Commissioner Harris was talking about as well. So that could have a wide impact if we're able to remediate a lot of this blight that we have in our city.
Awesome. And so just so you know, so what we have is one goal is going to be to make sure that our students are on track and making forward progress from where they are to where they can go. We have the introduction of more Sky Cops. Is that what they're called? Sky Cops? More Sky Cops, and then blight remediation support. And so we have that on the list as well. So let's continue to add to it. I think people are going to be happy to learn all this new information and to have something to look forward to. Commissioner, you ready? Commissioner Milton?
Let me go back to the issue of the pipeline in the sense of what the challenge of many communities. Government is a part of the solution, but it's not the total solution to these challenges. Communities themselves have to have some control of their own destiny. If you're depending on someone else outside your community solving your problems, all we need to do is look at our communities and say, well, how good of a job they're doing. We have to be able to invest in these communities so they can have some say in what happens to their own lives. And I bring this up because on the issue of what I'm looking for this year, for the past few years, I've been working, especially in the South Memphis area, to create what I would call a blueprint that could be used in other communities like Orange Mound and Fraser and other parts of North Memphis. And what it is a tax incremental financing. And basically what this is where a certain area can get control of a certain percentage of the taxes to utilize them in their community, and they decide how to utilize those dollars, and also work with businesses who want to move into that community. It's a way of giving that community the ability to dictate its own destiny. The reality, when you have a pipeline issue move in, or be it a waste refinery or anything else that comes in your community, if you react at that moment, it's already too late. These communities need to be organized long before these issues come up so that they can respond appropriately, have the resources to deal with them. So right now, we're trying to get a TIF in the South Memphis area. It's called the Soulsville USA Neighborhoods Development District. And we're hoping that we can bring in millions of dollars to help to redevelop that community. And we're hoping that we can build a blueprint that the other communities can use as well to start deciding and having control of their own destiny. And that's one of the big things I want to accomplish this year.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So just to make sure I'm recounting, so we've got making sure that our NCS students are making forward progress and are on track from where they are to going forward to make forward progress. And if I believe I heard correctly, the goal is all. And I think for education, it's always a good goal to have all of our students moving forward. And then we have giving access to Sky Cops, or distributing more Sky Cop machines out there, so that we can have some options to reduce crime in some areas that need that support. And then also making sure we have funding for blight remediation, and that we're supporting our efforts for blight remediation. And then to make sure I got this right, we have for Commissioner Milton, we want to develop a blueprint to create a TIF that would function through Soulsville USA Neighborhood Development District, where the community will come together to try and dictate how this TIF would be utilized or would be deployed. So that's awesome. That's awesome. This is a wonderful list, you all. Councilman Smiley.
Absolutely. So I have three things. I think we speaking in terms of definitive answers, according to Commissioner Harris. So I'm going to start with something that I know that she will be happy about. One of the things that we're going to get done, and then I'm going to need a little help from some of my colleagues to put some pressure on some of my colleagues that serve on the council with me, is an annual investment into the YES Fund, which is a fund specifically slated to support our young people as they come up through the educational system. So I think no matter how you want to look at it, although the city may not be directly in the education business, we still serve the city of Memphis, and within the city of Memphis, there's students. And I think we can't talk about doing what's best for our people, what's best for our districts, if we don't invest in the education or the educational opportunities of young people and their success. So I think you're going to see some point soon a commitment from the city of Memphis to make an annual investment into young people. And that's one thing. That's for you, Commissioner Harris. The second thing is, I think when we talk about, improving our city, I think one of the commissioners already mentioned is blight. What I've noticed since my time on the council, if you pay attention to what happens, prior to COVID, when there was, something happening downtown, there'd be trash all on the street. You come back out there tomorrow, there'd be trash would be gone. But if that same thing would happen in South Memphis, the same thing would happen in Frazier. If there was a big party, trash is on the street, you come back out there tomorrow, the trash will still be out on the street. Something has to be done. And what I would like to see happen, and I'm going to push hard for it, and I think we can get some success with this, is not only do we increase the number of the frequency of the routes of these street sweepers, we also purchase more street sweepers so that our communities can be clean, not just downtown, but also South Memphis, also Whitehaven, also Frazier, also Hickory Hill. Those communities matter. We need to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support those communities. And then the third thing, I'm going to keep talking about it until somebody hears me, the Metro Shopping Center. I believe that it's an opportunity for us to put an anchor in the South Memphis community. And I think at some point in time within the next year or two, you will see either the ownership change hands, or you'll see a significant investment into the redevelopment of the Metro Shopping Center, which will serve as an anchor to the 38126 community.
Man, this is awesome, and for those who are watching, look at this. When we when we talk to our elected officials and our elected officials talk to us, when we have a conversation, we can ask tough questions. And Shalia, well, I'm sorry, Commissioner Harris, I appreciate you putting it out there, and this is the conversations we have to have with the elected officials. What can we do? We just looking at it from every angle. We're talking about moving kids forward in the classroom. We're talking about making sure that we have a way to reduce crime and to help people feel safe in their communities. We're talking about blight remediation support. That's a big deal, especially if you grew up in a poor neighborhood or in an area where there are a lot of houses that you're surrounded by that just don't look good. And so, that's a tough situation. And then now, it's a seller's market in Memphis right now. It's difficult to buy a house right now. And that hasn't always been the case, but we want to make sure that people can sell their homes at a good value and that people can buy a home that's good quality and have more options of places that they want to live. So blight remediation is a big deal. Then we're talking about developing a TIF program that would allow people in the community to deploy funds to make a difference and to have an impact. That is a big deal. And then annual investment into the YES Fund. We're talking about, and this fund, the YES program basically focuses on student enrichment and development. And so is that the right understanding? Gotcha. Okay, so we have investment in that fund. We're talking about increasing the number of street sweepers and the frequency of routes. And I know firsthand what it's like to not have your streets cleaned and to not have your streets repaved until forever, or to have problems even just getting your trash picked up. And you go into other places and things are happening fast. And then also, I think it's an awesome idea and definitely an incredible undertaking to try and get an anchor in the South Memphis Metro Center. So that's a big deal. And I just want you all who are listening to know that we have some opportunities to support our leaders in getting these things done. And so let's take our stand against the pipeline, but let's also take a stand and support these wonderful efforts. Part of being an elected official is accountability. You signed up for the accountability. But the part of us being voters is saying that we're going to hold elected officials accountable. We signed up to push the issue. So let's push the issue. Question for the commissioners. Are the summer jobs coming back for the children?
I'm going to give that to the county commissioners and city councilmen. We have the children, but they give us the jobs, so I'll let them answer.
So yes,
Go ahead.
Commissioner Milton.
All I was going to say is I want to give a shout out to the Commissioner Willie Brooks,
right,
as he's initiated this effort for summer programs for our young people, and it has been a huge success. Definitely, we're looking at coming back this year, trying to find the extra dollars to do this. And I want to commend him and also all the other commissioners who has been committed to ensuring these young people can make some money over the summertime, because the reality is a lot of the challenges you're seeing here, a lot of the unfortunate silliness that happens when they do some of these things, it's about money. They need a little money to enjoy the summer. For some families, that's not a big deal. For a lot of the urban children, it's a huge issue because they don't have those resources. So yes, I'm a big supporter of the summer program, and I'm going to do everything I can working with my fellow commissioners to make sure we have it again this year. Of course, we have to look at COVID and what impacts it may have. Also, too, one thing about our program, a lot of people are not aware of this, because we talk about our students, obviously, that are in the school system. When the Commissioner Sarah Harris said we have the students, but our internship program can go for people as old as 24 years old. Yes.
So these are people who are not only graduated, but what are they looking for the next step? Maybe they haven't had the right mentorship or internship before ever. So we're talking about not only people that are in our high schools, but we're talking about people who are far removed from high schools that also get an opportunity to work as well. So that's like Commissioner Milton says, that's an important program. And obviously our businesses is not really up. We're going to have the funding for it. So we stop there. The funding is going to be there. Obviously, our businesses need to be able to feel comfortable and have their things in place from a COVID standpoint. But I think, everything I've read and seen, even from where I work, is that we're seeing those things rapidly change. And by the end of the year, hopefully we'll be in a better place when it comes to for folks to go back to work and be in buildings and things of that nature.
Awesome, awesome. All righty. If we can, what we're going to do, and I'll get this information from you guys later, but I'll get information, everyone, from our elected officials, and we'll put together the best way to reach all of our elected officials so that you can have an easy way to access each of our representatives and ask questions and get information. But we are at our time. And so in closing, I'd like to give each of our guests just 60 seconds to share with your constituents and those whose lives you affect, just some closing remarks as we wind down our fireside chat for the evening. So we'll start with, we'll go from top to bottom. Commissioner Lowery.
Yeah, thanks again to the party for doing this. Looking forward to seeing more chats as well, and to everyone on the panel as well. Thanks for your insight, and hopefully we all learned a lot as well. I just want to implore everyone in the community to continue to send us your ideas and your thoughts, and we need to hear from you. We need to understand what you think about these issues. I know during these times we haven't had the chance to kind of get together and sit in our community meetings like we always do before the COVID, but let us know your thoughts no matter what the issue. We need to hear from you directly. And let's continue to support each other, especially in this time. We're getting past this pandemic. We're moving forward with the vaccination program, now leading to the city and the things that the health department's put in place, as well for the school system. So I'm optimistic about where we're headed. I see us moving in the right direction. Our businesses are starting to open up slowly but surely, and our restaurants are starting, obviously. And I got to say that because it's Black Restaurant Week here in Memphis. So make sure you go patronize a Black restaurant this week. Great work done by Cynthia Daniels there as she champions that effort. But the counties put, and just like the city, but we put aside resources for restaurant workers when they were closed. And now any restaurant worker is eligible for that $1,000 grant there as well. So that's partnered by the Memphis Urban League. So log on to Memphis Urban League if you know any restaurant workers that can still be eligible for that grant as well. So again, thank you again for having me, and to everyone else on the panel, appreciate you being here as well.
Awesome. Councilman Smiley.
First, to the party, thank you, Chair Harris. Just big kudos to my colleagues on the commission and school board. For me, I just want everyone to know that you can get engaged with me by just shooting me an email, giving me a call, 901-352-0478. The number again is 901-352-0478. And just like Commissioner Lowery said, if we don't hear from you, we don't know your position on certain issues. So stay engaged throughout this process. Let us know. Continue to send us emails, because if a council member doesn't respond, they see the email. They understand your position, and oftentimes you will be surprised how we move the needle based on the amount of people who reach out to us, whether it's email, whether it's call. If you listen, pay attention to the council meeting or the commission meeting, if we have a lot of response from individuals in the community about a certain issue, you can usually change the way the individual, the council member, the commissioner would likely vote had they not heard from you. So stay engaged throughout the process, keep pushing forward, and we ultimately have to bend to the will of the people. So if we don't hear from you, we won't know. We will probably make a decision that may not necessarily be the best. So keep staying engaged with us. You can engage with me on social media at JB Smiley Jr. Good night.
All right, and then Commissioner Milton.
Again, I want to thank you, Chair, and thank the Shelby County Democratic Party for hosting this event. We need to do more of these. The public gives the public opportunity to know exactly what's happening. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth is that not every single one of the elected officials that you see up here, they didn't get here by themselves. You actually put us here. And if you don't like what you're seeing, you have to ask yourself a question. Then why did you choose to put these people here? You are responsible. At the end of the day, it's not just voting. You need to hold us accountable. You need to be involved. You need to be engaged. You need to learn what we're doing. And when we're not doing it right, it's your responsibility to call us on this and demand better. Understand, leadership is wonderful, but without the people behind it, then it's not leadership. You decide. And I stress to you again, learn more about what's happening in your government because it affects every single aspect of your life. And if you can do that, I guarantee you, you'll have better government. But let me also say, if you need to reach me, my number is area code 901-626-0623. That's 626-0623. That's my personal cell. You can call me anytime. I am your elected official. Even if I'm not in your district, all the commissioners represent all of Shelby County. And so at any time, feel free to reach out to any of us. Thank you.
Awesome. Commissioner Harris.
I'll just echo what's already been said. Great conversation tonight. Appreciate the opportunity to join the call. For the listening public, I will say that when I got the flyer for this panel tonight via email, the saw was a lack of women on the call. And so I inserted myself to make sure we had a voice at this table this evening. So that is why I am here. Looking forward to actually seeing some actions after this call. I am about doing things and not just about trying and talking about them, but making sure that we are seeing some results in the city that we love so much. So thank you again for the opportunity. If you need me, email me, call me, look up, I'm there, I'm 6 feet tall. I'll see you and we'll get some things done.
Awesome, awesome. Well, everyone, we're wrapping up this fireside chat. Please visit www.shelbydem.org to get more information about the Shelby County Democratic Party and to learn more about how you can get involved as a volunteer and how you can support us in a way that we definitely need, and that is financially. The work that we do is 100% volunteer. The people who are helping to make this possible, the folks who are out volunteering and canvassing and doing phone banking and making every effort to fight for the things that are important to us as Democrats are doing this because they believe in what we stand for. We have shared values that connect us all together, and we're working because we love to make a difference in our community. It's not because we get paid. And so, of course, we need your financial support to help move the party forward, to help get good candidates elected, and to help us be a better voice and better representative for you. And so I'll end with saying this: everyone can make a difference, and one vote can be the difference. One person can be the difference. So exercise your right to vote, get informed, and go to the polls and make something happen. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. And thank you to those who have stayed on with us during this fireside chat. We'll see you again next week.